All right. Hello, astrology lovers. My name's Amanda Poole Walsh. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Astrology Hub. And today I am here with astrologer and wellness consultant, Stephanie Gailing. And Stephanie's going to be talking to us about the eclipse, the upcoming eclipses, and how to work with our dreams around the eclipse. And then also she's going to give us some tips for she's going to give us other wellness suggestions for taking care of ourselves through this time. So I love this, Stephanie. No one else has covered this angle. So it's really going to be such a pleasure to hear from you. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here and talking about this with you and everybody else who's listening in.
All right. Okay. So tell us just, high level, how we can start to tune into our dreams around the upcoming eclipses, or would you say mainly around the solar eclipse?
I'd say mainly the solar eclipse, but really thinking about the energy is so high right now. I mean, really in each of these, what I call eclipse seasons, right? Those months where we have those eclipses, the energy is just really intense and the veils feel really thin, right? So we're connecting even more to the inner realms. But what I really like to look at is with that solar eclipse, right? Is this notion of after the solar eclipse, something is coming into form, right? We're giving birth to something, a new chapter is being ushered in. Before that, it's almost as if that's why a lot of people talk about the loss that occurs or the clearing that occurs before, because it's as if the field is being cleared so that there can be this new, beautiful beginning and burgeoning. So, what I love to think about with dreams is turning to your dream from this perspective of release and renew, right? Before the solar eclipse, it's about releasing old patterns and habits and perspectives. And sometimes it's things or people or, things in our lives so that we can then clear that field so that we can then seed for what it is that we feel we want to plant and we want to bring in. And we can look to our dream. Where the dreams come in then is helping to get insights related to that.
Yeah, I just have to share. So, and before I do that, would you
Yeah.
say that when does this start? Does this start with the lunar eclipse or is it now? When would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, as we're approaching this lunar eclipse, we are getting, so much illumination, both in terms of, again, there's that dance between the sun and the moon, the masculine and the feminine, right? That sort of sense of identity knowingness and that quiet within knowingness. So I can only but imagine, and I know for myself and for many clients that even in the last handful of weeks, for many people, it seems like their dreams and the clarity around their dreams has been ratcheted up.
Oh yeah. It's so amazing, Stephanie. I've had two members of my team reach out to me and say, I had a dream about you and this is what happened. And both of them were so clear and it was almost like giving us all insights on next steps and things that we need to do. And the other night I had such a symbolically laden dream that was so rich all around the solar eclipse for me. So the solar eclipse is going to be conjunct my Saturn in Leo. So my Saturn's in Leo at 29 degrees. And I had a dream about my father and something that was happening with my father in relationship to my mother, which wasn't the most positive thing. Sorry, Dad. I know this is not true. It's just a dream. And then my oldest brother, who's a Leo. So we were having a conversation about what was happening with my father. And then the next thing that happened, it's very weird. I was sitting on the couch with someone and she was saying, oh, when you wear your hair like that, you really look like a kitty. You look like a kitty cat. And then when I was talking to my brother, who's a Leo, he said, let's go to dinner and talk about the thing with Dad. And we're walking to dinner and he has me on a leash and I'm acting like I'm a cat, like my 8 and my 5-year-old do around the house all the time. I'm pretending like I'm a cat and I'm on a leash. And I'm like, so I woke up from this dream. Like, first of all, it's so bizarre. Second of all, it is like so rich with the symbolism of Saturn and Leo. And so when you say release, I'm thinking, oh, maybe there's some aspect of my Leo that is like being leashed still or
Oh.
something, anyways, it's really helpful to look at it from that framework of potentially things coming up that would need to be released so that the renewal can happen.
Yes. And I'm also, before I want to talk about that, I'm also really touched by how you said that two of your team members, said I had a dream, and that dreams were like informing the collective and the group, which feels very Aquarius eclipse,
It's very
right?
true.
Right.
Right.
The team, and you as Saturn and Leo, right? Sort of being the leader, right? And sort of the authority amongst the team, but it is a collective effort. So that's
Right.
really interesting. And it's really interesting with group dreams like that. And your dream, I mean, wow, talk about, both in terms of pulling in, all of that energetic, those archetypes that are really rich in the Kairos, right? All of that Leo, symbolism. And I can't even but imagine that a lot of people aren't starting to look for that, right? About lions, about felines, about kings and queens and royalty, about stars and plays and art and theater and all of that, and to really see where those Leo archetypes are coming through. But the other level of that, right, is what is happening with this solar eclipse? What is it initiating for you? And it's for you, it's Saturn, right? And so your unconscious, and your connection to the imaginal is coming through in your dreams, sharing with you some sort of insight.
Some sort of insights. Well, I'm very curious to hear from all of you. Are you having these types of dreams yet? These really clear, and maybe you don't like, I still don't necessarily understand the message, what it was trying to tell me, but it was so clearly related to the eclipse energies that are going to be happening for me. So is that happening to you? Are you experiencing dreams like this? What kind of symbolism is coming through? I would love to hear from you, because that would just be an very interesting dialogue for us to start. Yeah.
Yeah, and if people know where this eclipse falls in their charts,
Yeah.
and sometimes these, eclipses are sometimes stronger for us at, different eclipses. Sometimes if you don't have anything around 28, 29 Leo and the other fixed signs, it may not be pulling up as much, right? But to look is, maybe what house is it in? What themes are related to that? What are those insights that are coming in terms of what wants to be given birth? But what do I need to clear away first so that they can really take root?
So do you have any methods or practices around dreams that you could teach us?
Yes, a couple of them actually. So I really love working with dream incubation, right? Dream incubation being, first of all, just this notion of that dreams are sacred. I mean, I really feel like if we all just brought in some more reverence to our dreams, that itself would create that connection with them, and then that awareness that can come forth. And part of the dream incubation is before you go to sleep to ask yourself, what is it that you want your dream to bring forth? What awareness? So for example, maybe with you, it may be about this Saturn and Leo. What is it related to Saturn for me that is getting in my way? I'm sort of going with this here, of really holding and being that Saturn in a more aligned way. Right? And so you ask this simple question to yourself before you go to bed. Now, sometimes what people like to do too is, if you have a dream journal, you could actually write down the question as well before the insight you're looking. Once you remember it, sometimes you're a little bit hazy still going to sleep, but you also anchor it, right? That's creating a whole other level of intentionality by writing it down. And then you have that canvas upon awakening to fill it in. And then when you awaken, right, I always tell people to just because within 10 minutes, like 90% of the dream is gone. Those first
Right.
10 minutes, those first 5 minutes are really prime time. So when you wake up, lie really still and connect to any threads that you have of your dream, right? Try to weave them back together and then write in your journal. And maybe in the beginning, you may not even know, how does that relate to my question? But you write it down, don't edit. And then you can go back to framing that within your intention to see what are the different ways that is informing. Also with that, now some people can literally write a lot. For some people, and I love this especially during Leo season, is to use colors, use crayons, use markers, draw it, doodle it. Some people also, there sometimes what happens for me is that I can't write as fast as I
Right.
remember. So I like to
Definitely.
use a tape recorder, and then later
Oh.
I will transcribe it. So that dream incubation is really, really effective. And the thing is, let's say you wake up and you can't remember your dream. Still important to write in your journal or in your recorder something to the effect of, nothing came, I cannot remember my dream this past evening. Because we have dreams even when we don't remember them. And just doing that will continue that through line, right? And tell your unconscious that you are aware that the dream is there. And that itself is really powerful for remembering.
So you find that when you do that, then maybe you'll remember the dream later if
Yeah.
you actually, okay. What's challenging for me, and I'm sure many people can relate, is that I'll remember the dream, and then it's actually the step of going to write it that makes it like I start losing it. It starts to fade away in that process of going to actually write it. So I love that suggestion that you gave of using a recorder, and many of us have a voice memo and things like that on our phone now. So you don't even need a recorder. You could just use your phone. But then I think the trap would be getting sucked into whatever texts or Facebook alerts or whatever on your phone, because once we go there, it's gone, right?
Right, but you can put like I sleep with my phone on airplane mode.
Ooh,
So
okay.
then when you go to voice memo, that's what I do. All that stuff's not coming through.
Oh my
You're
gosh,
not
that's
distracted.
so simple. I've never even thought of that. That's a great idea. Because even when my alarm clock goes off, I'm seeing like all the messages that are on my phone, and I'm in Hawaii and behind a lot of people. So sometimes I wake up and it's just like already full. And even just knowing that it's full will bring me into that mode of like, oh shoot, I need to start addressing things. So great call.
Thanks.
Airplane
Well, and
mode.
with that example you had too, right? It's almost then demarcating and saying, this is my time for sleep and dreams.
Right.
This is my time for being awake, as opposed to that bleed through, which
Yes.
may really hold that dream as more sacred as well. So yeah, try that
Okay.
and let me know how that goes.
Okay, I will. All right, so dream incubation. Anything else that we can use to work with our dreams and get more insights?
Yeah, so and I would just say one more thing with the dream incubation is, again, before that solar eclipse, maybe I would also ask myself, again, what do I want to release? What is standing in my way? What is restricting me? What is it that I need to surrender or let go? And then after the solar eclipse, it's about also looking for insights of, what is it that's giving birth? And obviously it's not such a strict line. They may come in together because it is a process.
Yeah.
Um, so definitely in terms of the incubation, I also like working with flower essences for dreams.
Okay.
And especially for some people who, and there's a variety of different flower essences you can use. So here's an interesting one, maybe even if this seems interesting to you. Sometimes, right, we have all the dreams in our head and it's hard to like get it into those words, even if we're writing it down. So the flower essence Cosmos is a wonderful one for connecting thoughts and the words that you need to use to express them.
Okay.
So again, if you have sort of that block of like getting those dreams into words, whether it be in your recorder or down on paper, Cosmos is really good for that.
Okay,
Uh,
Stephanie, before you
yeah.
go any more, for people that don't
Yes.
know what flower essence is, can you explain what that is and then tell us a
Yes.
little bit more about Cosmos? Like what would that actually be?
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, flower essence is different than essential oils and aromatherapy, which have fragrances. Flower essences are infusions of flowers in water. They don't have a smell, they don't have a fragrance. And they work on a subtle energetic level to help rebalance different areas of stress, let's say. So, if anybody knows the Bach flowers or Rescue Remedy, which is
Right.
very popular, Rescue Remedy is a combination of 5 flower essences. So you can buy these flower essences and you can do a couple of things with them. You can either put a couple of drops in water and drink that about 3 times a day. One of the ways that I love to do it too is you can take a mister bottle. You put, say you were just using Cosmos, you put, say, 5 drops in here, fill it up with water. You can even put your favorite essential oil, shake it up, and then you just spray it around you before you go to bed, when you wake up, throughout the day.
Okay, and you get these at like the health food store, or you get them
Yes.
online, or where do you get flower essences?
All of the above. You can get them online. You can get them at the health food store, the natural pharmacy, Whole Foods and Whole Foods like places, your co-op.
Okay, and cosmos is a combination of what? Do you know what flower
Actually,
essences are?
it's actually cosmos is the cosmos flower.
There's a cosmos flower.
There is a cosmos flower.
Okay, I
How
didn't know
appropriate, right?
that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very nice. Okay, so it's a cosmos flower and it's a flower essence, and you're saying that that helps us connect our dreams with, it helps us bridge the dreams and the thoughts and the words,
Yep.
basically?
So if you have this sort of memory, sometimes it just you can see the
Yeah,
dream, but you
yeah,
just can't like bring it into words.
right.
That helps with that.
Okay. All right. And then you were going to go on to another one. I'm I would like to ask you Barbara's question before we go to another flower
Yeah.
essence.
Yeah, of course.
Barbara wants to know, what if you don't remember your dreams, like ever?
Yeah, and there is a lot of people who don't remember their dreams. The first
Yeah.
thing that I would say is to know, and I think a lot of people don't remember their dreams also then feel like they don't dream, right? So I think there's something really important just to start, and it sounds very elementary, but just knowing and believing that you had the dream is a big step forward. Is that itself going to have you remember the dream? I can't say that it will, but just as a place to start. And then what I might do is I might try the dream incubation, right? Which is again this way of creating ritual around dream and around remembering. And then sometimes what I have found is that if there's something, even a little thing you remember, like let's just say that you remember a color. I don't know. Or you remember a movement. This one can be really interesting for people. You remember some movement that happened, even if it's simple, like a hand movement. Whether it be in the morning, at some time during the day, just be in that meditative space and do the movement and see if something doesn't come ushered back. Or the same thing with the color, or even if there's one little thing, right? Just to stay with that and to see if that would bring you anything. Um, Perhaps as well, if Barbara was interested, or people who had a similar thing, and there are a lot of people who don't remember
Yeah,
their
no, I've
dreams,
met many people who've said that. Yeah.
is to mugwort, not just mugwort the flower the herb that you would put under your pillow, but mugwort flower essence actually helps to it's thought to create that connection between the conscious and the imaginal minds. So that might be one to try. And then I would also say, like, if right now dreaming at night isn't bringing forth, like if Barbara ever takes a nap or would go into a little bit of a daydream, you still have the accessibility to that part of your mind, say during like a daydream or being in that sort of whisper zone. So just
Hmm.
beginning ways to work with that.
Very nice. Okay, hopefully that helps, Barbara. And you can report back to us on that.
Great.
Okay, so Adrian asked, Cosmos is a pretty flower, sturdy, oh, yeah, so sorry, she was just saying a comment. I'm sorry. I thought that was a question. Okay, Aeolia wants to know which of the Bach flower remedies would be similar to Cosmos. So maybe if you don't have access to Cosmos, is there another one, or the Bach flowers?
Right. So in terms of that, I really do, is you could try like clematis. It's not exact, but clematis may be helpful. Um, I would, and there are other Bach flowers that I can actually talk to that aren't directly like that. Um, but I think clematis would be the closest for that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So you were going to go to something else. You said Cosmos as a flower essence that we could work with. Are there more?
Yeah, so there's Cosmos. There is the mugwort also, which I wanted to talk about. There's also, and actually maybe this would be, I don't know, maybe something Barbara could think about or other, is there's one called Star Tulip, which is a really beautiful one for connecting to that inner voice. So it's really good even for meditation, for journaling and for dream work, because it's almost like it allows this deeper connection to the inner recesses of awareness. So that's really nice. I also feel too that like part and parcel with dreaming is also sleeping well and getting a good night's sleep.
True.
And some of the Bach flowers I like to work with that actually are white chestnut. And white chestnut is for when you have a looping thoughts in your head that you can't fall asleep because your mind keeps on going on the same thing. So white chestnut is good for that.
Okay. Go
Go,
ahead.
please. No, no.
I was just going to ask in terms of the good sleep. Do you find that some people sleep better with another person and some people sleep better alone, or have a difference in their dreams, whether or not they're sleeping next to someone or not?
Yeah, and that seems really, really individual. I mean, and people who are sort of more, how do I want to say that? Thinner veiled or thinner boundaries, maybe it's sort of really Neptunian people or Piscean people or what have you, those people too, like really who might be energetically sensitive during the day, may also be more energetically sensitive at night. But some people feel more comfort when they're with another person, and other people feel disturbed, whether it's with the physical disturbance of the snoring, the blanket pulling, what have you, or just that sort of energetic disturbance.
Right.
So
Okay.
I think it's really personal.
Okay. So maybe tuning into that, especially during this eclipse time, and honoring which way you are.
Yes.
Right. And knowing that if this is a time where dreams might be potent and messages might be coming through, that maybe it's an extra special time to create that sacred space for yourself, whichever way your preference is.
Yeah.
Essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what else? What else would you recommend in terms
Well,
of
also,
working with our
and
dreams?
and I think in terms of also, I should have said this before, sort of stepping back too, because this is such a special time, especially that solar eclipse, right? Where there is this sense of darkness, and yet in that dark, it's that invitation to go to the recesses within us, right? That place of revelation, that place of inner knowingness. Hence why doing this dream work now is so important and powerful. So if we're going to then say, okay, this month, right, I am going to do this, 30, 31 day, focus on my dreams. What is it that I need to maybe even do in my bedroom, right? So that I can have it be more of a dream temple, so that I can have it be something a place that feels more sacred. It does that. I mean, it could be something as simple as I'm going to commit myself to making my bed every morning. I am going to take the clutter that's there and I'm going to move it out. I'm going to even dedicate for a month or maybe even less to not watch TV in bed, to not watch Netflix in bed, right? To have the bed and the bedroom be the place for sleeping and dreaming and intimacy. And again, having a new relationship with the bedroom and your bed especially, again, just even as an experiment, right? We're trying new things here. And as we should all remember, right? Times of eclipses things are not clear as they usually are, right? They're clear on another level. And so again, just give it, I would say at least, I want to say 21 days, but give it a handful of days to just try and to see like, how does this shift things even really subtly if you relate to your bedroom in a different way? Take the clutter out from underneath the bed, move the TV out, and definitely if possible, right, move not use your computer in bed, have a beautiful thing by your bedside, something that's special to you, your crystals, a picture, sculpture, what have you, a flower. And just by focusing on the bedroom on that level, I have found for many people, not all people, of course, but for many people, that shifts their relationship to their dreams, their connection to remembering them, and what they get from them.
Okay. So we have a question, someone wondering what this has to do with the eclipse, and I think that you've definitely woven it in several times. I would love to address that, and then you can too. But for me, this eclipse is giving us an opportunity to tune into the other dimensions, the other aspects of ourselves, the subconscious aspects of ourselves. Many astrologers that have come on to these Facebook Lives with me have talked about how the communication between other worlds is easier during an eclipse time, especially with the upcoming solar eclipse. So there's an actual like portal open. So you can think of this time as an opportunity to really be getting messages from those realms even more clear, whether or not you think of them as a realm, as like another dimension outside of yourself, or you're thinking of it a dimension deeper within yourself. I think either way, there's opportunity. And with these eclipses coming, our dreams are going to be more potent. I've heard countless astrologers tell all of us to pay attention to your dreams, especially during this eclipse portal. So when Stephanie was saying you do this dream journal or create the space, the sacred space around your dreaming, create the sacred space in your room so that you can dream, I would recommend using the August 7th lunar eclipse all the way to the August 23rd. August 21st.
21st.
Thank you. God, I don't know how many times I've said that. August 21st solar eclipse. Use that window of time where we're going to be doing our daily meditations. We're going to be coming together and listening to music together. We're going to be really seeding and anchoring the energy. Use that time at night to be playing with these concepts and these ideas. So Stephanie, I don't know if you wanted to say something to that.
Yeah, all of that. And also, like, especially with that, that it's a really potent time, the energy is really high, and there's a lot of shifts that are occurring in our lives, right? And to be able to like look for insights for that where we can. And with that solar eclipse, where that lunar energy, right? The moon is covering the sun, the space of darkness. And, and in so many times it was ominous, right? The darkness came. But how can we revere and honor the darkness? In the darkness, within the recesses within ourselves, of our psyche, of our imagination, of the deep parts of ourselves, lives so much wisdom. And one way to access that wisdom is through your dreams. Not the only way, of course, right? But one way is to really turn inward in the dark of the night, and to see what comes forth.
I love that. That is a great explanation. Okay. Barbara asks, did we have a portal open sometime during April? And if so, how is this portal opening different?
That would be something I don't know.
No, a portal opening. I think she's talking about like some sort of astrological event that might have happened in April. Was there an astrological event that happened in April that would be similar or sort of? I'm not clear of what she is referring to.
And I mean, there's a lot of things that occurred in April as well, right? I mean, there was the Venus retrograde, there was the Venus station, there was the Saturn station, but in terms of, it wasn't eclipse season, that was more in February. So that might have been another potent time.
Okay.
But it would be interesting actually to think for Barbara, like, is there something that was occurring then for her and her chart, right? I mean, related to her chart that may be revisiting now.
Okay, great. All right. So what else, Stephanie? What else can we do with our dreams and or on the overall well-being front?
Yeah. So with the overall well-being front, I really feel like it's a time of, right, with this heightened energy. I've been using this word a lot in this Leo season about giving yourself permission. Right? Because again, the sense of Leo, right? This unique self that I am, the desire, the ability for myself to shine. And that's oftentimes something that we sort of, right? The Leo, the cower away from. Who am I? What's so special about me? I can't, but I think it's really important for us to give ourselves permission to share who we are and our gifts with the world. And in that also permission with this heightened energy of both the eclipses, and it's a really intense month, right? Tomorrow's the Uranus station. It's the Jupiter-Pluto square again on Friday. There's going to be a Mercury retrograde, which is not bad. It's just a really, you have to get into the groove of how to communicate during that. There may be a lot of nervous tension flying all around. So giving yourself permission to just take care of yourself, to take a time out, and it's oftentimes I will say like, okay, this is a good time for this and that and the other thing, which I definitely have some sort of Leo suggestions, but I think at the root of it, honoring Leo is, what do you need? Like, what do you know that has you come back to center? What food, what way of eating, what self-care practice, what exercise, What is it that uniquely honors who you are, to relax, to tune in, to connect? But I just think at the root of it is like, give yourself as much permission as possible to take care of yourself, because also that's the way that you can just not take care of yourself, but to take care of others. And again, using this Leo, tuning into that Leo energy of expressing yourself, right? Like connecting to a sense of fun and play. I can't tell you how many people that I've heard, and I love this, like almost them tapping into this already, like, oh my God, things, people were just so stressed, and people are still so stressed, but I hear them saying, you know what, life's so difficult. I'm not going to get stressed over this. I'm going to make fun. I'm going to have this be fun. Right. And bringing in that childlike, playful Leo spirit, which itself can be so healing.
Absolutely. I have to share. So in our membership, we have a different astrologer lead each lunar cycle. And the Leo King is leading this lunar cycle for our membership. And the astrologer also assigns soul work assignments every week. And so for this lunar cycle, the first soul work assignment that we had was that every morning we were to look in the mirror and tell ourselves that we love ourselves and why. So it's like, I love you because, and go into that. So I had my daughter Madeline, who's 8, I had her demonstrate this to the group on video, which she loves to do, by the way, Leo South Node. And she's always like, Mommy, I want to be in the video. So she did it. And then what happened is people started declaring why they love themselves publicly. So I went on and made a video, and then everyone started making videos. And so now you have people, who've never been on video before, like have never had the courage to go on video, but now going on video saying to everybody what they love about themselves, what is beautiful about themselves, what they honor about themselves, and the healing that's happening. And then the second week, the assignment is to post, instead of the profile pic that's like, maybe a cartoon or an animal, or not even you, or a profile, I'm talking about Facebook now, so a profile pic of someone else, or a profile pic of yourself from a really long time ago. What he said is post a profile picture of yourself in your essence, like the way that you love to be. So like dancing or with your flowers or whatever it is. And so now we have everybody in there posting pictures of themselves that are really just showing their essence. And it's the most, when you say healing, I mean, it's one of the most healing experiences that I've had, even just witnessing. And so many people are having and going through it. It's this Leo energy of like, okay, here's who I am. And I'm just going to show up and I'm going to share myself. And yeah, it feels kind of weird and awkward. It's funny, when I asked Madeline how that experience was for her to say, I love you in the mirror, she said, it's really weird and happy. It's weird and happy. And so many people could relate with that. It's weird and happy to tell yourself that you love yourself and to share yourself with the world and to step into the spotlight. And if you've never done that before. And so it's the energy is there and it's supportive. And most people are so surprised at how liberating it is, and also how well people receive them. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think that is so right. Isn't that one of the strong lessons of this time, right? Like 29-degree Leo, solar eclipse, really giving yourself permission to love yourself.
Yes.
Right? To live from your heart, not just for other people, right? To live from your heart for other people, and to live from your heart for yourself. And at the base of it, like that is just such incredible healing.
Yes. Okay. Couple more questions, and then I want to go to more wellness suggestions. So Denise asks, can you please tell us again how to use the oils, a few drops in an infuser or to drink?
Fabulous. Yes. So also, just again, and I'm glad that she asked that question, because I always like to sort of re-clarify. So the flower essences are not essential oils. They're different than aromatherapy. They're actually more aqueous. They're more from water, like a water consistency. So what you want to do, and do I have any? I'd have to step away from the thing, so I won't show you. But what you do is you can take, say, 4 to 5 drops and put it in a glass of water and drink that, say, 3 times a day. You can put that many drops in your water bottle, right? And this way it's always accessible. You could put a couple of drops in a bath, or one of my favorite ways to do it is take a mister bottle fill it with filtered water, put a handful of drops or 5 or 6 drops of each flower essence in it. And there, maybe you want to put your favorite essential oil, lavender or lemon or what have you. You shake it up and then you spritz yourself a few times, several times a day.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for that.
Okay, so Ryan asks, can you extend that to the collective? What does the earth need to self-care? What does
Ooh.
consciousness need to get centered?
Oh, what a fabulous question.
I have to just tell you, that's my sweetheart that asked that question.
Really?
Yes.
Well, and I wonder too, right? If we gave, I mean, it's sort of going back on what I said from an individual level, right? But what if we all gave ourselves more permission to live from our heart, to open our heart, to be confident in that our heart also gave us a sense of clarity, gave us a sense of alignment, right? If we each individually open to our heart, wouldn't that heal the collective on some really, really large level? So I think it comes down to that, because I feel like, right, there's this sort of like, I'm shining too, not a lot of people do it like in that, I'm shining too little. Most people are shining too little, or that very brash, here I am and I'm taking completely over, right? That sort of strong sense of Leo, right? This sense, and this is why it's really lovely, right? That reminder of that Aquarius full moon eclipse, right? It's almost like, I'm going to phrase this in a question in a way, like our obligation individually to shine, right? Not just for ourselves, but for the collective. Because if I have this gift and I cower away or have shame around it and I don't share, that's not just a disservice to me, right? That's a disservice for you, to you, right? Because you're not able, or vice versa. I'm not able to receive the beauty that you can create that will touch and inspire me either directly or through somebody else, right? Through the collective. So almost like, doesn't it become our personal responsibility in a way, right? To express from a heart-centered space, for both us and for everyone around.
Absolutely. I've always felt like there's a key, if we express from our heart, if we express that truth, it's almost like a key that unlocks other people's hearts.
Right.
And if we hold back, then that magic between us can't actually happen the way that it's meant to. So, yeah, and again, with what I've just experienced within our community, just people stepping up in courageously sharing themselves. I mean, one woman came on last night and sang a song. She sang a song to everybody. And that is so healing and so inspiring and so liberating for someone else. So her stepping into that courageous place of sharing her gift then liberates someone to maybe do the same. And then what happens when they do it? Then they liberate someone else. So it's this huge ripple effect. So yeah, this is the way that we would help the planet and we would help the collective.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, like as we then all do that, right? And this was also another way, like of the collective being the Aquarian level, but also like be in it and then take a step back and look to see like, how did my showing up and orienting from my heart shift my son's perspective, my neighbor's perspective, the barista's day, what have you, like to really start to then notice, if we live that way, we can see what occurs and what unfolds. And, similar to what you said about the key, right? I mean, there's this resonant field, right? So if I'm showing up in this really generous, heartfelt way, you'll feel that will resonate with you and open something up for you. But if I'm not, right, there's no sort of resonant impulse for you to do that on some level. I'm not encouraging that in you.
Exactly. Yeah. And the truth is we're starved of models of what that looks like. So for us to provide that for each other is such a great gift. Okay. So Michael would like to know, can essential oils work since they are also flowers?
Yes, so essential oils also are really incredibly healing as well. I mean, I work with them, I work with flower essences more, but I would definitely, I mean, even, and maybe this also goes back to like, how can you take care of yourself? Give yourself the permission to whatever you gravitate towards, to use an essential oil. And if it's for you, it's lavender because it's calming and sort of steadying. One of the, this is just sort of what's streaming through my mind, is spikenard, also known as jatamansi, which is actually, this is a really interesting one in terms of using it at nighttime for sleep, is you take a dab of it and you put it on the soles of your feet.
Mm.
And jatamansi is supposed to release like sort of some traumatic memory or traumatic energy that's raveled up. So that might also open up in terms of for nighttime and for dreams. Yeah, any of these essential oils are such a beautiful addition to your self-care. And, what's beautiful about those too is they're not just effective. They are so sensual, right? Because you smell them and you can just revel in that sensory experience.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So any other wellness suggestions for us during this eclipse season?
um, do you mind if I just talk about some flower essences not related to dreams, but for the eclipse season?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
sort of.
I would love you to.
Because I'm actually going off of this conversation we've been having, right, about being in our
Right.
heart.
Right.
So there's a couple of them that are prime for that. One is borage, which is a Bach flower, and borage flower essence is to help to inspire courage so that we can actually live through our hearts, right? So that sense of generosity and that courage, borage encourages. So borage is one. Another one is sunflower. So right, perfect for Leo, right? Sunflower is for, when I was talking before about how some people shine too small and sometimes people shine almost too large. Sunflower allows us to connect to the masculine solar energy so that we can embrace it within ourselves and to actually find that sense of permission to allow ourselves to shine in that really balanced, beautiful way. Also, just to throw this out there, sunflower too, I've noticed when there's like father, right? So some Saturn. So it might be actually interesting one to try, like people who like in the Saturn or, Leo time. So, that connection to like the, what's the word that I'm looking, more of like that healthy embodiment of the Saturn principle or the father principle within ourselves that then gives us that permission. So there's that one. And the last one I wanted to share is called buttercup, which again, all of these seem very, not borage as much, but sunflower, of course, and buttercup. Remember, it's the one that you would like hold under, I don't know if you did it under your chin when you were growing up. It's like a little yellow flower and it would shine. And buttercup is if you feel like everybody else says to you, and larch is good for this as well, they're sort of similar. If people say to you like, wow, look at all these skills you have, and you're like, oh, no, 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 right? Like when you can't see the light within you, when you can't see the value within you of your unique contributions, buttercup or larch, you can be used as well, are two really good ones to help that sense of ownership of the value that resides within you.
Mm, very nice. Okay. Any other oils, flowers that you want to share before we go to other wellness tips?
Yeah, I mean, and in terms of getting back to when you asked about, a few people asked about essential oil, I love the citrus ones during this time, right? And citrus is ruled by the sun. So lemon, I love mandarin, orange, grapefruit, because they also give that liveliness, that vitality that really aligns with the sun and aligns with Leo.
Nice. Okay, great. So other wellness tips, eclipse season upon us.
Eclipse season upon us, again, how do you I'm really focused on, connecting to that inner self, right? So meditation, journaling, giving yourself permission to have quiet time, right? And what does that look like for you? For some person, it might be, taking a walk by themselves or with somebody else in a quiet space by a lake, by the beach. For other people, it might be taking a bath, right? How can you carve out, not just in your dreams, in your sleep, how do you carve out some quietude, some refuge, right?
Mm.
So that you can go into that space of inner awareness and inner listening.
Mm. I have a really great way for you to do that.
Yes, yes.
With our eclipse meditation series. 14 days of free meditation between August 7th and August 21st. Make a ritual out of it. Just
Yep.
join us every day, and this is going to be just built in for you right there. Go inside, get internal, connect with that inner courage, connect with your heart, and yeah, we get to do it together, which makes it even more potent and powerful.
So perfect that you're offering this.
You can, and if you are interested in joining us, you can just click the link that is in the chat and also in the explanation of this event. But yeah, so that's available. I mean, it really is a result of listening to all the astrologers talking about the energy that would be happening at this time and thinking, well, what would be the most helpful for people? What would be the most useful? And it's like, well, create the space where we can do this, and create the space where we can do this together, and then it has even more impact for everybody. So yeah.
So nice. I'd also say too, the last thing I wanted to say is like as a balance, right? Because it's the moon and the sun, in a balance to like, to balance like the going in and into the dark is in playing with that Leo energy, right? Like color, whether that's having like lots of fresh flowers, whether that's like getting a pack of like Crayolas, or whatever that is, like and just using that or changing your pen color up, like how can you bring that color, that rainbow, that light that vivifies and makes one more alive, right? So it's also that sense of like aliveness that brings clarity so we can tune in and see what else we can access to help ourselves and to help the collective.
Fantastic. So we all get to play a little bit more. That's good. All right. Does anyone else have any more questions? Okay, here we go. Pi says, what about decluttering with the Mercury retro in Virgo?
Love it. Love it. I mean, I think that decluttering, Mercury retrograde is so good for like getting at different perspectives and a different angle. And I always recommend, no matter what the season, it's a great time for spring cleaning. So absolutely. And especially that it's in Virgo, like you almost may get a different perspective. If you've condoed your apartment or home a million times, or you've cleaned a drawer before, you've organized your pantry, right? Because the retrograde of Mercury retrograde gives us a different vantage point. And then it's in Virgo, we might find awareness, systems that we never even considered, right? But again, with Mercury retrograde, just, don't rush into it, right? You just go slow, be really thoughtful, leave the space so that you can see things that are available that oftentimes are not. So yes, great idea. Do that. And maybe that actually goes really well with one of those first things we talked about too. Like, if you want to work with your dreams, especially declutter your bedroom.
All right. Okay. So Stephanie, how can people work with you more if they would like to?
So you can first find me at my website, which is stephaniegailing.com, or on Instagram, it's Stephanie_Gailing.
You're doing your first Insta story tomorrow, yeah?
I'm doing my first Insta Live tomorrow. I've actually partnered with a vegan ice cream shop here in Seattle to
Nice.
do astrology and inspired flavors, and we're doing an eclipse flavor. So,
Whoa.
and I'm
What is it? What's your eclipse flavor?
actually, it's a secret until tomorrow. So
What?
tune in tomorrow, 1:30 Pacific time.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the beautiful thing for me doing this is like it becomes that yet another thing is a teaching vessel, right? To teach people about these times and how to work with these energies. And I mean, so I'm doing, it's very Uranus station as we were talking, this is my first Facebook Live. That'll be my first Instagram Live. And how I work with people, I'm an astrologer and wellness consultant, and I do more ongoing work with people. Like I like to call them stellar guidance sessions, using the astrology chart as a portal for insight and reflection. So a lot of people work with me on a more ongoing basis, monthly, every other week, sometimes, every 6 months, what have you, for ongoing navigation of life goals. And I also do, for some clients, I do sleep and dreams. I'm actually working on a rather large online course that hopefully, knock on wood, will be done in September through the Hillman School, which will be all about sleep and dreams. So,
Wow. Very nice. Okay, well, if this topic resonates with you, there's lots of ways for you to connect with Stephanie and continue working with her. And if you would like to use this eclipse season to really go inside and to find that inner place and listen to your guidance and find your strength and seed a vision for your future, seed a vision for this planet that works for everybody, I personally invite you to the Global Eclipse Meditation Series. Every day for 14 days, a different astrologer, spiritual teacher, meditation teacher is going to be leading us in meditation and then also helping us to explore the eclipse themes, the eclipse themes of change, transformation, shadow work, the opportunity that we all have to anchor love, to create a new vision for this planet, for ourselves, for our own lives. So we will be going in a very potent way, to me, to commit to something for 14 days and to do it 14 days in a row. There is an impact that this will have on your life, and there's an impact, I believe very strongly, that we can have on the planet. So this is a great opportunity for you, and we would love to have you join on the actual eclipse day. So every day it's going to be at 1 o'clock Pacific for 30 minutes. If you don't catch it live, you can come on for the recording, and then on the actual eclipse day, we're doing it earlier so that those of you who are actually going to watch the eclipse, you can go and see the eclipse. So on that day, it's going to be at 10 Pacific. And on that day, I'm so excited. I will be on the big island of Hawaii. My spiritual kahuna, Auntie Mahe Alani, will be leading that day. It's going to be very, very potent and powerful. She is always essentially channeling ancient wisdom for us, and it just flows through her. So there will be lots of messages for all of us from the kapuna, the elders, the Hawaiian elders, and a lot of wisdom that will be shared with us on that day. So hopefully you can join us for all of it, and the link is in the chat. So, and also in the description for this talk. So it's been a wonderful pleasure to connect with you, Stephanie. Thank you so much. It's been almost a year since we've had a chance to do this. So it's been so great to have you on. Thank you so much for your time and for your wisdom and for all of your sharing today.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all that you do for all of us.
All right. Okay. Aloha, everybody. And I'll see you tomorrow. We have in the morning, 10 o'clock is a Facebook Live with Rose Pavlov, who is the founder of the organization that the meditation series is going to benefit. So it's all free, but if you want to own the recordings, all of the profits are going to be donated to Ivy Child, an organization dedicated to teaching children how to do yoga and to meditate and to connect into their guidance, so that we have a whole cohort of children who know how to do that from an early age. And she will be on with me in the morning, and then in the afternoon I'll be on with Gemini Brett. So we have another awesome day planned. Hope to connect with you then. All right. And if you want a live alert for that, just click on the link for live alerts, and we'll make sure that you're notified when we're on live. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.